Once upon a time, they say a person's greatness begins in their mind. What you believe about yourself shapes the life you live. We've seen this truth play out in the lives of successful people again and again. And yet, if it's really that simple, why do so many people struggle? Why do some people never rise, even though they dream about a better future? Today's story explores that question, and the answer might change the way you see yourself forever. One cold morning at a crowded train station, a beggar sat near the platform. Every day, he survived the same way, holding out his hand, hoping strangers would drop a few coins into it as they waited for their trains. Most people passed by without even looking at him. Some gave a little, but no one truly noticed him. Then one day, everything changed. A sharply dressed businessman stepped onto the platform. His suit was crisp, his posture confident. He carried himself like a man who knew exactly where he was going in life. The beggar's eyes lit up. This man must be wealthy, he thought. If I ask him, maybe he'll give me more than the others. With hope in his heart, the beggar approached and stretched out his hand. But instead of reaching for his wallet, the businessman looked at him calmly and asked something unexpected. "Do you always just take from others, or have you ever given anything to anyone?" The beggar froze. No one had ever asked him that before. Confused, he replied, "Sir, I'm just a beggar. I survive by asking. I have nothing to give." The businessman gave a slight smile. "If you believe you have nothing to give," he said gently, "then you have no right to expect anything in return. I'm a businessman. I believe in exchange. If you can offer something, I'll gladly give you something back. But if you offer nothing, I have nothing to give you." And with that, he boarded the train and left. The beggar stood there, stunned. Those words echoed in his mind long after the train disappeared. For the first time in his life, he felt something deeper than hunger. He felt realization. All this time, he thought, I've been asking, but I've never given anything. Why should people give me anything? That night, he couldn't sleep. His mind kept repeating the same idea. If you want to receive, you must first give. 2 days passed. He didn't beg. He just sat there thinking. Then on the third day, something caught his attention. Near the tracks, a patch of wildflowers had bloomed, bright, colorful, alive. An idea sparked. What if I offer something in return? He slowly walked over, picked a few flowers, and returned to his spot. That day, when someone dropped a coin into his hand, he smiled and handed them a flower. At first, people were surprised, but then something beautiful happened. They smiled back. Some even said thank you. Days went by, and something incredible started to change. More people began giving him money, more smiles, more kindness. But he noticed something important. Kept running out of flowers, the money stopped coming, and when he had flowers again, people gave generously. That's when it hit him. People don't just want to give, they want value. They want exchange. One day, he saw the same businessman again, sitting by the train window. Excited, he ran over. "Sir," he said, almost out of breath, "today I have something to offer. If you give me money, I'll give you flowers." The businessman smiled warmly, handed him some cash, and accepted the flowers. "You've learned the lesson. You're not just a beggar anymore. You've become a businessman." Those words changed everything. The train left, but the thought stayed. Am I really a businessman now? He thought about it for a long time, and then suddenly, clarity. I'm not begging anymore. I'm trading. People aren't helping me out of pity. They're paying for something I offer. For the first time in his life, he felt proud. That day, he made a bold decision. He left the station, and he never came back as a beggar again. 6 months later, at the same train station, 2 well-dressed men shook hands. One looked at the other, puzzled. "Wait, do I know you?" The other smiled warmly. "Yes, we've met before, right here." The first man studied his face, and suddenly his eyes widened. "No way, you're the beggar." The man laughed softly. "I used to be, but not anymore. I run a flower business now, and I'm traveling to grow it even bigger." The businessman was amazed. "That's incredible. What changed?" The former beggar smiled with quiet confidence. "You did. You taught me something I'll never forget. We only receive when we give. I wasn't poor. I just didn't see my value." They shook hands again, this time not as strangers, but as equals. The truth is simple. Life becomes what you believe it is. If you see yourself as small, you'll stay small. But the moment you recognize your value, everything begins to change. So don't underestimate yourself. You have something to offer, and when you start giving it to the world will give back.